So today we are doing the chapter number 5, verse number 3, verse number 4. Gneyasa nitya sannyasi yo na dveshti na kankshati nidvandvo hi mahabaho sukham bandhat pramuchyate. Can anybody repeat?
May I, Prabhuji? Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
go ahead.
Jneya sanitya sannyasi yo na dveshti na kankshati nirdvandvo hi mahabaho sukham bandhat pramuchyate. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you. Can anybody read the translation?
May I, Prabhu? Hare Krishna.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
One who neither hates nor desires the fruits of his activities is known to be always renounced. Such a person, free from all dualities, easily overcomes material bondage and is completely liberated. O mighty armed Arjuna. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you very much. So in this verse, Lord Krishna is speaking about who is a really renounced person. So here the context is that Bhagavad-gītā chapter number 4, chapter number 5, this is like the verse number 3 and 4, right? So the point here is like Arjuna has asked a question in the beginning of this chapter. The question was, see, first of all, you asked me to renounce the work, and now you tell me to work with devotion. Right? So what is it? How should I understand this? That is the question that's been asked. And can you please tell me which of these two is beneficial for me? And then Krishna replied to that the renunciation of work and work in devotion, both are good for liberation. But of the two, work in devotional service is better than renunciation of work. Sri Bhagavanuvacha Sanyasa Karma Yogascha Nishreya Sakaravubhav Tayostu Karma Sanyasat Karma Yogo Vishishyate. So we may get a doubt. So here Karma Yoga, how is it translated to work in devotional service? You see, when the word yoga comes, the word yoga, it means union with God. And the definition of Karma Yoga is that you work without attachment for the sake of Supreme, for the pleasure of Krishna. That is Karma Yoga. So if you're not working for the pleasure of Krishna, if you're just working it for yourself, then it is not called Karma Yoga. It is called Karma Kanda. Even if you're working with detachment, you have to, if you're not offering that result to Krishna, if you're not doing it for the sake of Krishna, then you can no longer call it Karma Yoga. Therefore, doesn't matter whether it's Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, or any yoga system, Dhyana Yoga, there must be devotion. Bhakti is compulsory. God is compulsory. Krishna is compulsory. It is not possible that it can be called as yoga without devotional service. Therefore, Karma Yoga is work in devotional service. That means to perform our prescribed duties as per the Varnashrama system for the pleasure of the Supreme. This is called as Karma Yoga. That's the reason why it's written as work in devotional service. And what is Krishna saying? Work in devotional service is better than renunciation of work. So a lot of people, they think that it is spirituality if you renounce everything. So some people, they seem to think that artificially renouncing everything, including devotional service, is actually the real renunciation. But then we get information from the acharyas that this is not so. That's called as Phalgu Vairagya. That means incomplete renunciation. Renunciation is complete only when we get to know that the knowledge of our relationship between us and Krishna, that I am the servant of Krishna. Okay, this is the correct understanding. But the Mayavadi school, the impersonalist, they are more or less like Buddhists. they think like that, artificially we will renounce everything and we have become liberated now, just because I have renounced. But that is not so. That's what Krishna is clarifying. And now Krishna is actually explaining who is a really renounced person. The really renounced person is not the one who is simply taking one stick in hand, ekadanda, and just claiming to have given up everything. That is not renunciation. You see, the real renunciate is there one who neither hates nor desires the fruit of his activities is always said to be renounced. The same thing Lord Krishna explains in the 18th chapter. In the 18th chapter, Lord Krishna explains that the real renunciation is renouncing the fruit of action. You see, you can renounce everything, but then you see, people cannot renounce the feeling of worship, that I am very important, I must be worshipped. Right? This kind of a feeling cannot be renounced. That is not easily renounced, you see. And then the feeling of getting the result, I mean, attachment towards the results, activity and its fruits. So when I'm doing certain activity, I demand certain results and I get attached with the results. So that is not real renunciation. The real renunciate is one who neither hates nor desires the fruits of his activities. That means he is continuing his duties. Whatever duty, prescribed duty is supposed to do, he continues to do that for the pleasure of Krishna. But sometimes there may be positive result, sometimes there may be the opposite result also. But then this yogi is not disappointed, nor does he give up the work. So that's what Krishna says, right? Just like the impermanent appearance of summer and winter, they're impermanent. Sometimes it is the summer, sometimes it's winter. But a person who is in steady intelligence learns to tolerate both of them. Whether it is sukha or dukkha, whether it is happiness or distress, one must go on performing his prescribed duties, because these prescribed duties are meant for his purification, for our own purification. Why are we doing prescribed duties? It may be difficult to do that work, but still we should continue because it is purifying us. And then we are indirectly worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead through work. So when we say work is worship, this is how work is worship. That is, you continue to work without any attachment to the result. Whether you neither hate the results that you get it, nor you love it. You are just simply neutral. And being free from dualities. That is real worship for Krishna, real worship of God. So this is a kind of an indirect worship. This is what is work is worship. Not that I will do whatever I want to do because of my mode of passion. I'm very addicted to doing work. I'm addicted to the results. And I'm continuing to work because of the impulse of mode of passion inside me. And I simply whitewash it and say that this is work is worship. I'm doing God's service. That is not enough. At least Bhagavad-gītā does not accept that kind of whitewashed kind of a statement. So we must be free from all dualities, and then such a person can overcome material bondage, and then such a person can actually become completely liberated. One who neither hates nor desires the fruits of his activities. So that is called as the correct renunciate. Okay, let's go to the next verse. Sankhya yoga pruthak pravadanti na panditaha ekamapyastitah samyak ubhayor vindate phalam. Sankhya yoga pruthak pravadanti na panditaha ekamapyastitah samyak ubhayor vindate phalam. Anybody wants to repeat?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, may I?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sankhya yoga prathak bala pravadanti na panditaha ekam api astitah samyak gubhayor vindate phalam. Only the translation also, Prabhu.
Yes, yes.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Only the ignorant speak of devotional service, karma yoga, as being different from the analytical study of the material world, Sankhya. Those who are actually learned say that he who applies himself well to one of these paths achieves the results of both. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So there are two paths here, Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga. Sankhya Yoga, Prutak Balaha, Pravadanti, Na Panditaha, Ekam Apyastita, Samyak Ubhayor Vindate Phalam. That means there are two paths which are described in the chapter number 2. In the first half, Krishna describes about the Sankhya Yoga part. Sankhya Yoga is the empirical study of the soul and matter, the spirit, soul and matter. What's the difference between soul and body? That is Sankhya Yoga. The 16 elements constituting this universe, right? 24 elements constituting the universe. This is all Sankhya philosophy. Understanding from an analytical point of view. You see, that is Sankhya. And Karma Yoga is practical devotional service, practical activity. So first of all, it is like Sankhya Yoga means trying to find out what is the root of the universe. What is the root of the universe? Root of the universe, if you consider the tree, right? It is this material world is like an inverted tree. The root of that material world is Lord Brahma. And the root of Lord Brahma is coming from Lord Vishnu. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the root of the universe. So God is the root of the universe. To come to that conclusion through analytical study is Sankhya. And what do you do after finding out? After finding out the root of the tree, what do? You must water it. Okay, to find out that this is the root of the tree which is supposed to be watered is one step. The second step is to water it. So finally, the conclusion is the same. Karma Yoga is you are directly accepting the conclusion without any analysis. So it is like saving time. But more or less, the purpose is the same. The purpose is to find out the root and to serve that root, to water that roots of that tree. To serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate goal of life. That is the purpose of philosophical research. Sankhya Yoga means philosophical research. There are two processes, right? We're talking about two processes. We're coming to a conclusion through one of these two processes. But ultimately, the conclusion must come. The conclusion must be that the source of my energy, the source of every living entity's energy, the source of every kind of energy in this universe, the supreme energetic, is God. And now let me serve him with the energy that has been given to me. So there is some energy that Lord has loaned to us or given to us temporarily. And we are using it for our own sense gratification. But we have to do some kind of a philosophical research to find out what is the source of this energy. Where am I getting this energy from? And if the energy, I'm getting it from God, then why don't I use this energy in the service of God? Why should I use it for my sake? Again, is that not a misuse of energy? This is what we have to understand. And then we understand by Sankhya philosophical research about the nature of a living entity and the nature of the material world. What's the nature of a living entity versus the nature of material world? The nature of the material world is that it is Asat, Achit, and Nirananda. It's not Satchit Ananda. It is temporary, full of ignorance, and full of suffering. This material world is full of suffering. That is material world. And what's the living entity? Satchit Ananda. Satchidananda is Krishna, and we are part and parcel of Krishna. It's just like this. The father is very rich. Naturally, the son is also rich. The Supreme Father, Krishna, he is full of knowledge. He is full of eternity, and he's full of bliss. So because my Supreme Father, God, is full of bliss, then my nature is to be blissful. But at the moment, because I have forgotten God, I have forgotten Krishna, I am put in suffering. So the purpose of this Sankhya philosophy is to be detached from this matter, which is supposed to be the external energy of God. So we should divert our attention from the external energy to directly to God. Instead of serving the energy of God, serve God directly. Then that is called as our constitutional position, to be detached from matter and to start the devotional process of serving the Lord. There are many ways of serving Krishna. You can serve Krishna by Varnashrama. Varnashramaacharavat pumsaha. Vishnor aradhate param. That means with the help of the Varnashrama system, that is, Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. We are doing so many occupational duties in our life. We are taking care of family. We are doing so many activities as a citizen. We are paying taxes, etc., etc. All of this Varnashrama Dharma is a system given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We are following that system knowingly or unknowingly. We may not be knowing that we are doing it, but unknowingly we are following Krishna. But we are following it in a wrong way. We have to understand it in the right way. We should maintain the correct mood, correct attitude, that I am not the proprietor. I must not think that I am the boss. I must think Krishna is the boss and I am the servant. So we have to change our attitude, come to the mood of a servant and then serve. Then we will become liberated. So that's the conclusion of today's Bhagavad-gītā shlokas. Okay, if you have any questions, you can ask. Hare Krishna. Any questions?